Our next step is to create buildings. In order to do this, we're first going to have to create a new layer. To create a new layer, we're going to come over here to this little icon that looks like a page and with the corner bent up, and we're going to click on it and we're going to rename it. I'm going to name mine Building 1 Left Side. And the reason I'm naming it this is because I'm going to start building all my buildings on the left side, and it's going to be the first one that I'm doing. We're going to then select the rectangle tool right here, and we're going to just click, hold, and drag to create a rectangle, just like that. And if it's not the right size that you want, you can come up here to the selection tool, click it, and you can change the size of your rectangle or your square. Okay, now we're going to deselect it by just clicking anywhere else on the page. And we're going to start making lines to the vanishing point. To do this, we're going to select the pen tool. We're going to click at the corner of your box, and we're going to do the center, or your vanishing point, I should say, and then the corner of the box again. And then in order to let us know when where we're needing to add more points to get rid of the rest of this line, we're going to drag a guideline out by clicking on the ruler, holding, and dragging the guideline, just like this. I think I want my building to be about that wide, and then we're going to drag one from the top, and we're going to try to get it as close as we can to where the first line we just drew intersects the path that we drew with our pen tool, just like that. Now we're going to come up here to the pen tool and we're going to add anchor points, but before we add anchor points, we're going to need to zoom in. There are two different ways to zoom in. You can come down here to the bottom of your screen and you can select the zoom you want, or you can push the command key on your keyboard and push the plus sign, and the minus sign will zoom back out for you. So this is how close we need to be, but obviously right now this is not selected, so we're going to come up here to the selection tool and we're going to click on the path that we drew with our pen tool earlier. And now we're going to come back to the pen tool, and it's already at the add anchor pen tool because it has a little plus by it. So we're just going to add an anchor there and add an anchor there. Now in order to get rid of the rest of this line, we're going to subtract or get rid of this anchor point right here. To do that, we're going to come up to the pen tool and we're going to select the delete anchor point tool, and it has a little minus by it. So we'll just come up here to the anchor and we'll click on it, and that will disappear for you. Now we're going to draw another line from the bottom to the vanishing point. We'll have to select our pen tool again. We will come right here. We'll come back to the vanishing point like that, and that will be the bottom of our building. Now we're going to have to add an anchor point like we did to this one up here, and we're just going to zoom in and add our anchor point right there, and we're going to have to subtract this one again to get rid of that extra line, just like that. And now we're going to click anywhere on the page like this. We're going to come back to the pen tool. We're going to click in the corner right here and then down to here, but in order to get a straight line you can push shift. Hopefully that will give you a straight line. And that's what it looks like right now. Now we're going to get rid of these guidelines by going up to the selection tool. We're going to click and drag over the line just like that, and then we're going to push delete, and we're going to do that to all the lines that we have. And that's our first building. We're going to then lock the layer right over here by clicking in that square until the lock appears, and then we're going to go File, Save, so that we don't lose anything in case the program crashes. Now You might want to know how to make a taller building. So I'm going to show you how to make it. So we're going to come over here and create another layer. We're going to name it so we know what it is. Okay, just like that. We're going to come and get the rectangle tool again. And I'm going to make a taller building. We're going to go over here to the selection tool. And for my purpose, I'm just going to take it to the corner of each of the buildings because I'm going to make a downtown feel to it, kind of like downtown Kearney. And for some reason, it didn't fill in the stroke, which is like the line. So we're going to come up here to this box, and we're going to push on the little arrow, select the black, and then come over here to the stroke, select the arrow, and then go to 2 point, just like that. Now we're going to unselect it, and you can see that you can now view it. We're going to do the same thing we did with the other box by grabbing our pen tool. But remember, when things are above the horizon line, you won't be able to see the top. So doing this back corner will be unnecessary. So we're going to come up here to the second corner. We're going to add an anchor, come to the vanishing point, and then back here, add our anchor. Okay, and now we are going to figure out how wide we want our building by pulling out a guideline once again. And I think I want mine about that wide. We're going to zoom in, come up to the selection tool, select the path that we drew, come over to the pen tool, add an anchor, click where we want to add our anchors, right where our guidelines will be. Come over to the delete anchor point tool, and that's what it will look like. But right now we're not quite done yet because we have all this right here that is still visible, and you won't be able to see that in real life because this would be a solid building, right? Well, we're going to come in and we're going to make sure we have our selection tool. We're going to select on the square that we made. We're going to come up to the add anchor point tool. We're going to make an anchor here, and this will pop up when you don't quite get on the anchor, you don't click on the line quite right. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit more just to make sure that I'm clicking on the line. We're going to add an anchor point here, and we're going to add an anchor point right there. And now we're going to subtract this anchor point, subtract this anchor point, and see how it makes it like that. Now we're going to unselect, and it's not quite lining up right here, right? So we're going to zoom back in. Oops, if this ever happens to you, just go ahead and click back on your page. We're going to get the direct selection tool. We're going to click on this corner, and we're just going to bring it down so it meets with the building before it, just like that. And that's your second building. Now we need to remember to get rid of the extra guideline we made. So we'll go back up to the selection tool, click, drag, which selects it, and then we'll push delete. We'll come over here, lock the layer, and then we'll go File, Save. You can just keep repeating this until you get all 6 of your buildings done, and it should get you through steps 7 through 12 on your project.